Okay, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be I guess discussing a topic that's a little controversial, right? So a lot of people think that Dagestani is a privilege, right? And I disagree with that, right? So in this video, I'm going to be basically breaking down why I think the Dagestanis aren't privileged and why Dagestani privilege is kind of a myth, right? Now, I want to start by saying I'm not saying Dagestani fighters or fighters from that region, Chechnya, and other surrounding regions are not privileged. I do agree there's some privileged fighters, but I disagree that the reason they're privileged is because they're Dagestani, right? So the main point I'm going to try to convince you guys is that fighters or privilege exists, but not because of ethnicity or where fighters are from, but instead they exist due to business and entertainment reasons, right? So that's the main thing I want you guys to keep in mind, and the main point I'm going to try to prove, right? So if we go through kind of what makes Dagestani's privilege, right, or the common accusations we get, right? Undeserved title shots or number one contender fights, right? Biased judging and robberies, getting away with fouls, getting away with missing weight, getting away with steroid, hometown advantage, and the claim that they only find Abu Dhabi, right? Those are the main kind of complaints people have of Dagestanis, right? And these are the main reasons, right? People say Dagestanis are privileged, right? So I'm gonna go through kind of each of these reasons and explain why I don't think they're privileged, right? So first up, undeserved title shots and number one contender fights, right? So there hasn't been that many, I'd say undeserved title shots from Dagestanis, right? I'd say it was deserved once he beat Sandhagen, but I definitely agree that he didn't deserve the Sandhagen fight in the first place, right? Same with Hamza. I think now that he's beaten Whitaker, he deserves it, but yeah, he didn't deserve Whitaker in the first place, right? However, that's really it, right? People say Islam didn't deserve the Oliveira shot. I kind of disagree with that, right? He was on a win streak. He was number fourth ranked, and Poirier and Gaethje were above him, right? Those were the only fighters above him, and Oliveira already beat both of them at that time, right? So it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense for Oliveira to fight anyone else, right? But on the left hand side, if you look, there's lots of people that have got a lot of people that have got undeserved title shots, right? You look at Izzy, lost to Strickland, and then sets up Rahoya, gets a shot against Dricus, right? O'Malley was like number 11th ranked. His best win was I think Pedro Munoz, and he fights Jan, who was like number 2 ranked, I think, right? That's crazy. And that's kind of similar to Umar fighting Sandhagen and Hamza fighting Whitaker, a very similar circumstance, right? Then you got Michael Chandler, who literally beat Dan Hooker and then fought for the belt. Okay, that one was not too bad, right? I do think Poirier deserved a shot over him, but then after that, this guy's been getting undeserved fight after undeserved fight. Like he lost to Chandler, then again he gets another shot at Gaethje, who was number 2 ranked. He beats Ferguson, then he fights Poirier again, who's number 2 ranked. He loses to Poirier, then he sits out for 2 years, goes down to number 7 ranked, and then he fights Oliveira again, who's number 2 ranked. And now they're trying to make him fight Arman. Like that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Matchmaking, right? Like how does Chandler keep getting these fights, right? And the main point I'm trying to make is that yes, people get undeserved title shots and number one contender fights, so just fights in general, right? But it's not because of Dagestani privilege, right? As you can see here, right? O'Malley fighting Jan, they want O'Malley to be champion, right? Chandler, they want Chandler in these entertaining fights. Adesanya, they want Adesanya as champion. It's the same thing with Hamza and Umar, right? Umar, they have the backstory with him being Khabib's cousin, and they just want to get rid of Merab, right? So at that time, we all thought that Umar would be a nightmare matchup for Merab. He's the only guy that can beat Merab, right? So that's why the UFC wanted Umar as champ. Same with Hamza. Hamza's a huge star, right? He's a super big star, right? And him being champion would be good for business, right? So again, the main thing here is business. It's not Dagestani privilege. We see a lot of other guys, even McGregor, fighting for 2 belts. I know there's countless other examples, right? But I just went with these main 3 because I feel like they're the best parallels, right? Next up, we look at. Okay, yes, this is another point I want to make. A lot of people say Dagestani is a privilege, right? But there's also so many fighters who deserve the title shot and they didn't get them. And again, the reason for that wasn't because of where they're from. It's just because of entertainment and business reasons, right? If you look at Makayev, How did Usyk get the shot over Mikhaev? Like, that's ridiculous, man. That is ridiculous. Like, Mikhaev was number 6 ranked. Usyk was like number 10. And I get that Mikhaev had a boring performance, but again, based off rankings and who they beat, Mikhaev should have got the shot. Or Mikhaev should have got the shot, but again, Usyk got it. Was it because he's Australian? No, it's because he's more entertaining. Same with Ankalaev, right? People say Ankalaev doesn't deserve it. Who does he beat? But it's not really his fault, right? If you look at the rankings, Glover retired. He fought Jan. Then Yuri and Jamal Hill were both injured, so there was literally nobody for him to fight, right? At the time, he has he has the most, like, all the people this beat have been like top 15 for the last like 6-7 fights. He has the most ranked wins, I think, in the division. And why did he not get why did he not get the title shot? Like, why did Roundtree get it instead, right? Again, it's because of business, right? They wanted the Roundtree Pereira fight. It's easier to sell, right? If you strike a matchup, Muay Thai vs kickboxing. And again, they're trying to like I think Pereira can beat Ankalaev, but there is a bit of like protecting Pereira there, right? Like Ankalaev, I don't know who's gonna win yet. I might lean Ankalaev, but I do think Pereira obviously can knock him out, right? But it is a harder matchup, and there is a bit of like protection going on there, right? And again, it's not because of Dagestani privilege, it's because of business, right? And obviously, I know Ankalaev's not from Dagestan. Someone in the comments can be like, "I'm actually Ankalaev." Like, I know, but you get the point, right? This region of fight, that's what people usually allude to, right? Same with Movza same with Movza, right? He had Arnold Allen, Aljamain Sterling. He beat Dan Ige, and I think he had a few, maybe 1 or 2 other ranked wins, right? Diego Lopez goes from 12th ranked to number 3 Ortega, and now he's like pretty much next in line after Volk, right? Like, how? Again, it's entertainment, right? Lopez is more entertaining. People who don't want to see Movza with his controlling style, right? And again, nobody says, "Oh, Mexican privilege" or this privilege, right? Again, it's just entertainment. That's all it is. It's just entertainment. And more people find Lopez entertaining rather than Movza. That's why Lopez has been kind of pushed up, right? So again, this goes back to the point. It's not about where you're from. It's about entertainment and business, right? Another thing, okay, this one's actually really interesting. I don't even know why people say this. So biased judging on robberies, right? When we think of the worst robberies, what do we think of? We think of Jones Reyes, Paddy Pimblett versus Ryan, what was his name? Jared Gordon. And then O'Malley Yan too. I mean, I think that's pretty bad. A lot of people don't think it's too bad. But those are like the main robberies that come to mind, right? And Cotton Volko, we could, I guess, add to that list as well, right? The second fight. But I've never like thought of a robbery. I know, like, when I think of the word robbery, no fighter with Dagestani or people from the area come to my mind at all. Like, the only fights that I guess people were calling robberies weren't even robberies; they were just close fights, right? Islam Volk won. Yeah, like Islam won that pretty clearly. I thought at least 3-2. It was just because of the last round. Hamza Usman. Again, I can see an argument. I can't see an argument for a draw, but Hamza didn't lose that, right? Like, first round was 10-8, second round Usman won, third round was pretty close, right? I think it could go either way, right? And then Hamza Burns, again, that was clear 2-1, but it was close 5, but I thought Hamza won pretty clearly 2-1, right? So again, I don't even see any like examples of like crazy robberies. Like, where are these robberies? Where are these biased decisions that have gone to Dagestanis that are like super clear, right? You can't just say close fights robbery. There's so many close fights, but there's never been like a Pimblett versus Gordon type robbery that involves a Dagestani fighter, right? There's never been a Jones Reyes type robbery, right? I've never seen that ever, so I don't even understand why people say this, right? So yeah, if you can find any examples of like clear robberies involving one of these fighters, you should let me know, because I haven't seen one, right? Next up, fouls. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. This one is true, right? Getting away with fouls. So Ankalaev illegally kneeing Walker in the first fight. That was a foul. And he did get away with it, but again, it's not because he's Dagestani. It's because of the location, right? They were in Abu Dhabi. They're gonna favor the Muslim fighters, right? We look at other examples. Michel Pereira, I think it was a knee or a kick on UFC 301. He did a backflip, and I think he kicked him on the face, right, when he was grounded. That's illegal. Michel Pereira didn't get DQ'd either, right? It's because they're in Brazil. Gone, illegal strikes to Tuivasa because they're in France. Chandler, blatantly illegal shots to the back of the head. and he didn't get away with it. Again, it's because of the location, right? Again, like, I'm not saying that privilege doesn't exist, but it's not because of the ethnicity, right? Well, in this case, it is, but again, it's not limited to Dagestanis, right? So many people get away with stuff. It's dependent on location, right? In this case, this is dependent on location. Why did Michelle Pereira not get DQ'd? Why did Guy not get a warning, right? And same with Chandler, right? Nothing happened. So again, getting away with the fouls. It's true in this case. Ankalaev should have been DQ'd, right? If we're following the rules. But again, it didn't happen because in Abu Dhabi, right? But again, it's not limited to him, right? Missing weight, again, I think this is a real one. I do think Khabib, it was very sus, right? Khabib's weighing at UFC 254. But again, it's location based. Not all Dagestanis get away with this, right? We go back to GSP UFC 158. Diaz claimed that GSP actually missed weight. He said he was 173. I don't know about that, but there is a video, if you look up online, of some official going up to Nick Diaz before the fight, like 10 minutes before the weigh-in, and he was explaining to them how 170.9 pounds is okay. Like, if you weigh 170.9 pounds, it's still counted as 170. And basically, he was just alluding to the fact that GSP weighed 170.9 pounds. They didn't exactly make 170 pounds in I think Quebec. That fight was in Quebec, right? So again, it's like the foul thing. I agree, it did happen. It was wrong, but again, it's location dependent. There isn't too many examples of this. These are like the two main ones I can think of, right? But again, it's because of location. GSP's in Canada, Khabib's in Abu Dhabi, right? So again, it's not limited to the Dagestanis, right? Getting away with steroids. Okay, this one's interesting. I don't even understand why people say this, right? Like, if you look at the Dagestanis, their physiques aren't that impressive. Like, it's good, but it's not. I've never seen a Dagestani be like, damn, like they have the best physique ever, right? They're not like Usman or Romero or Paulo Costa or any of these guys, right? They don't look that crazy. So I think that's first of all, that's the first point. Like, they don't look that crazy. They don't even look like they're on steroids, right? That's the first point. Secondly, you look at so I have the list of the most tested fighters of 2024. Islam and Hamza are on there, right? They're on there. They both got tested 7 times, and the average times to get tested was like 4.3, right? So how can people say these guys are like on juice? Like, I see a lot of people saying that, they're in the villages, they're in Dagestan, so they can't get tested. They like hide from the testing. This clearly isn't true. We can see from the test sessions here, right? Now, I do know that Usman Nurmagomedov, I think, got caught a while ago. Same with Islam, but apparently they were tainted supplements. At the end of the day, I don't know. Maybe they're on steroids, maybe they're not. But again, it's not limited to them. Like, let's assume they're on steroids. You're telling me Usman's not on steroids? You're telling me like Romero's not on steroids? Paulo Costa's not on steroids? And everyone back then was on steroids, like Vitor Belfort, Alistair Overeem, Brock Lesnar. All these guys were doing roids. But again, we only put this accusation on the Dagestanis. Saying, oh, they're in the middle of nowhere, they can't get tested. Clearly, that isn't true. Look at the list. This is not true. Second of all, they don't even look that impressive. Like, they don't have crazy, like, oh my god, this is a like insane physique. Maybe Bilal does look kind of crazy now, but again, it's not. Yeah, it's not limited to them, right? Next, hometown advantage / the only fight in Abu Dhabi. This one again, I don't understand this. Like, Islam Oliveira, the first fight. Why am I saying? There's only been one fight. Yeah, but Islam Oliveira. I agree with that. Islam did have the hometown advantage, but again, I think that was just scheduling, right? Oliveira fought Gaethje in May, I think, of 2022, and then he usually takes like 5-6 months to turn around anyway. So it was just timing wise, it just lined up for the fight to be in Abu Dhabi, right? But they don't always have the hometown advantage, right? Again, you look Islam. As soon as he won the belt, he went to Australia. He went into enemy territory. He had less hydration time. And yeah, it was just a tougher fight for him. Like, he put himself in a much more, I guess he put himself in a fight where the I guess what would you say, the circumstances weren't in his favor, right? Yeah, and same and his last 3 fights, like he fought 311, that was in LA. 302 was in United States, right? So he's been fighting in the US. So I don't understand this whole thing of like, oh, he only fights where he has the advantage, or only fights in Abu Dhabi. Same with Ankalaev. People saying, oh, he only wants to fight per in Abu Dhabi. He fought Blachowicz in US. He fought Walker in US, the second fight. And he has a bunch of fights in the US. Like, I don't understand this whole hometown advantage. Same thing if you look back to Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holmes. That was in Australia. Holly Holmes was like seventh ranked, right? So again, it was a business decision, right? It's not, hey, we're gonna give the challenger or this person we want to be a champion like unfair advantages, right? And another thing I don't get, how is hometown like even really an advantage, right? Only time it could be an advantage is like in like an Australia case, right? Let's say like Volk fighting in Australia, he's used to like fighting in the morning or maybe like fighting with less hydration time, right? So that might be an advantage for him, right? But apart from that, I don't understand the hometown advantage. Yeah, maybe bias judges or like getting in with fouls. I agree with that. But yeah, I do agree maybe close decisions would maybe go in like the hometown's favor, but I haven't seen any crazy examples of that, right? I've seen a few, but it's not like to the point where it's like it's gonna completely change the fight, right? Like Pereira, if Pereira fights Yuri in like Czech Republic, the result's gonna be the same, right? If Adesanya fought Costa in Brazil, I think the result's gonna be the same, right? So in really close fights, I can see that argument there. But yeah, to me again, it's all limited to Dagestanis, right? Okay, this has nothing to do with privilege. I just wanted to add this in there. Kind of another reason why Dagestanis get hate is because of weight bullying and being boring, right? This one again, I don't understand. Like, when we talk about weight bullying, again, there isn't any Dagestanis to me that are like crazy. They cut crazy amount of weight. People accuse Islam, which is insane because he weighed 178 in on the UFC 311, right? In the cage. Marcano literally weighed a pound heavier than him, right? Again, in the Volk fight, I think Volk also allegedly weighed more than Islam, right? In that first fight. Islam's not a huge, like, he's big lightweight, but he's not the biggest. Like, Oliveira probably weighs more than him. Poirier probably weighs more than him. People just hear rumors and they run with it. Like, they'll hear someone say, Islam's 200, bro. He's 200. And they'll just run with it, right? The only example I would say of, like, a Dagestani weight pulling, I'd say, is Hamza when he was at welterweight, right? That was a crazy weight cut. But again, it's not even the craziest weight cuts, right? If you look at Pereira, how the fuck was this dude making middleweight? Like he would be 220 pounds like 2 days after the fight. That's that picture on the left. He weighs in at middleweight. 2 days after the fight, he's 220 pounds. That's ridiculous, man. That's crazy. Look at Anthony Rumble Johnson. He was like 230, cutting to welterweight. These guys are real weight bullies, right? It's crazy. It's just like people just pick and choose when certain people weight bully, right? Like with Pereira, they even make excuses. Like people that glaze Pereira would be like, oh, when Pereira cuts weight, it's actually a disadvantage. He's like weight drained, that's why he lost. But with Khabib and people like Islam, they're weight bullies, right? So I don't know, I don't think that makes sense. Also being boring. Again, I don't think yeah, like I don't get this one either. Like Islam is pretty entertaining. He's finished all of his like last 7 or 8 opponents, some crazy number like that. How is Hamza boring? Like Hamza's like one of the most dangerous grapplers we've ever seen, right? He gets like the finish. Like he's finished everyone except for Usman and Burns, right? Even Khabib, but Khabib was interesting to me. He didn't just hold people down; he mauled them, right? Like, sure, is this some boring Dagestani? Like even Ankalaev, people say he's boring. He has a lot of KOs, right? A lot of finishes, but yeah, like again, there are some boring Dagestanis like Makayev. Maybe Movsar is boring. I don't really watch most of the fights, to be honest, right? But again, it's not limited to Dagestani's, but Aljo is super boring, right? He was getting booed as well against Keita. Almeida just hugged Lewis. I think he's become one thing now, but in the Lewis fight, people were booing him. And there's a bunch of other boring fighters. So you got like Sean Strickland, people criticize him. So again, this whole idea that Dagestanis are boring or they weight bullies or they just hold with people, to me, again, it's not limited to Dagestanis. And a lot of the time, it's not even true, right? But yeah, man, that was okay. Yeah, but that was all I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I was just going with why Dagestani privileges and myths. Maybe this is controversial, but I think I explained my points pretty well. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what you think below. But yeah, that's it for this video. Remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.